Hello, so when I originally uploaded this video, it was all fuzzy for some reason, but now it's in 1080p. I've also color corrected a load of the scenes, because I didn't used to do that, and I've removed any copyright music, so the video is now monetizable. Anyway, it's all fixed now, so enjoy. Red Dead Redemption 2 is about a man named Arthur with the ability to skin any animal alive in the space of about 3 seconds. Good lord, Arthur! I mean, skinning a rabbit for him is like doing that fucking tablecloth trick. Alley-up! Alley-up! Actually, let's quickly talk about a previous Rockstar game. Back in 2013, Rockstar Games released GTA 5, a game about 3 psychopaths murdering their fellow Americans. The game was majoritively overseen in Scotland and left us all wondering, is this really what the game industry is turning into? Now, I know what you're thinking, but I've got these now, you ain't going anywhere. If you like GTA 5, that's fine, honestly. I just happen to think these games are a systematic symptom of the ongoing destruction of mainstream media, conditioning us into becoming brain-dead morons incapable of independent thought. Jeez. To pick up cheese, press square for 2 seconds, then hold left until your inventory opens, then click on cheese to eat it. Cheese will increase your health, stamina, intellect, run speed, block, piloting ability, drunkenness. I'm gonna leave. Not before this cutscene. Cheese is made from milk. The type of coagulant used depends on the cheese desired. For acid cheese is an acidic source such as acetic acid. To be a bit more transparent about what I mean, here is a summary of a typical mission in a larger AAA game. Mission starts, watch cutscene, go to place, follow path there in car for 2 minutes, press square to climb, walk for 2 minutes, go to specific points on map one by one, watch cutscene, kill fellow sentient human beings, you have health in this game, get on bike, go to specific point on map, increase driving skill. But driving skill makes you better at driving. Watch cutscene, mission in. Now you can still argue that these new big games aren't all about the gameplay. They're a product of some of the most talented game designers in the world, striving to push the technological and narrative elements of gaming as a whole. Yeah, if you put it like that. Red Dead 2 ultimately continues this similarly restrictive mission design from previous Rockstar games. But before I get into things, I just want to say I do like this game. I highly recommend it. Wait a minute, I better get dressed quickly. Oh, you know what? This is way too hard. All the things I say in this video aside, it is a landmark on what is technologically possible within video games, and it has an Into the Spider-Verse level of visual creativity. Whatever that movie was. Oh my god, it's so good! It's so good! Car Horse 2 begins quite slowly, as is the pattern for Rockstar games. Like GTA 4, I've heard mixed things about this beginning, as it takes 5 or so hours before you're free to explore the map. But rather than driving your cousin to the fucking grocer's for 3 hours... You're driving us to a hardware store on Dillon Street. I feel this opening actually captures the spirit of an old movie and properly introduces us to the dynamic of Arthur's gang and their view of the world. Arthur actually feels like a well-rounded character if you choose to play up to his level of humility shown in the cutscenes. Not like Michael from GTA 5 who plays like Michael Bluth Don fucking Tony Montana. You fucking motherfucker! Say hello to my little friend! Arthur convincingly views his place in the world with a cynical dual morality and justifies his actions as necessities to keep himself and those around him safe, until I'm holding the controller. But early on within the confines of the story, it all works very well. Until, of course, we reach the inevitable jailbreak mission where Arthur murders an entire town filled with innocent people. Oh dear. Honestly, it's fucking bananas! I do what I gotta do to survive. But this person doesn't have a face anymore. In this mission, this town is 1,000,000% justified in trying to kill me. In their eyes, and mine too, to be honest, I just waltzed into town and started murdering every sheriff I could get my hands on. I'm pretty sure this guy was just a blacksmith. Well, I helped out this woman earlier, at least I'm a little bit more complex. This'll teach you to innocently protect your town against numerous psychopaths who are trying to kill your family for no discernible reason. Somehow I feel Geralt in The Witcher 3 got away with doing terrible things a little better. I'm of course referring to the moral choice where you free the soul of a monstrous evil tree heart for... reasons. Oh, this was definitely the right thing to do. Bye-bye, evil tree spirit horse of death. The level of realism Red Dead 2 is going for in the mission cutscenes is so complex and nuanced that the actual actions outside of these cutscenes makes you come across as an absolute madman. Edgar Allan Poe gone Vlad the Impaler. Your humbler moments of character, which are extremely touching and well done, are all lost in a sea of literal death. I mean, Arthur comes across as more evil than the monster tree heart spirit from earlier. He certainly murders more people. Oh, and speaking of realism, imagine growing up in the 80s and watching as gaming evolved from Monkey Island to Tomb Raider, Deus Ex to Bioshock, and then dedicating your entire life to studying and mastering all the new and adaptive 3D rendering tools and techniques. Then, after decades of practice, finally working your way up to the dizzying heights of a programmer at Rockstar.
Man, I gotta get this perfect. Oh shit, I have an idea. If I just aim this up here and bring this to fall down. Okay, alright, now it's coming together. Now it's coming together, alright. I have been working all year, and this is all I have to show for it. You want more? You can't handle more!
Honestly, it feels like my horse shits every 30 seconds. Let's do a little experiment for science. Okay, so we've gathered up 5 horses here, and we're gonna watch their asses for 10 minutes. Then we will collate our data at the end and calculate an accurate number of average poops per minute. Go. What am I doing with my life? 8. This is what happens when you have too much money. One day I'll make enough videos and be able to hire someone to do literal acrobatics in the back of all my videos just to make me look frivolent. 1 million subscribers. Finally. So guys, we did it. 1 million subscribers. I'd just like to thank myself for being so great. Surely there's a limit on how far you can go with realism. If you introduce pooping, then surely I should be pooping too. Why am I not stopping every day for a poop myself? Oh god, it's happening! The level of realism in this game, outside of being able to walk through 4 consecutive bullets in a row, includes some of the most impressive things I've ever seen in a video game. It's honestly astonishing the level of detail put into this game, and it leaves you a little taken aback, in a good way. The looting, carrying objects, pushing through the bushes, recipes, skinning. But do we need all of this? Does any of this stuff actually make the game more fun? Does the mud leaving an exact imprint of everything that passes through it like a beautiful electronic canvas of wonder actually improve the game? I mean, it does bring me immense joy. Take me! The happiness I feel dragging a man through the mud and watching him slowly get more and more filthy, leaving a perfect trail of mud behind him, is all too real. Do it! Time to clean you off in the river, muddy pup. Uh-oh. What the fuck is wrong with me? I can't decide if having all this detail is actually okay, and let me explain what I mean. We all know deep down gameplay is one of the most important aspects of how fun a game is. Like, why is the hand-to-hand combat in this game so simple? Why is the tracking mechanic of legendary animals literally just pressing a button then following a series of prompts that appear on screen? These are gameplay elements with comparatively very little creative thought put into them. This is possibly the most dynamic world in a video game ever made, where animals actually leave physical trails, but the only way to actually track one of them is to be told exactly where to go step by on-screen prompts, yet I can go to the fucking theater! Who prioritized this? Was it you? Well, let's be fair, let's sit down and watch this. What is happening to these games? Who would watch this and why? Teams of thousands of people paid presumably hundreds of thousands of pounds over the course of 8 years to animate what can extensively be described as...
Bear was sad because the fish were his friends.
At least the tennis in GTA 5 was a fucking game, bland as a popcorn bagel, but at least you pressed buttons. Improve the hand-to-hand combat engine. Implement events with no gameplay. Create an innovative animal tracking system. Implement events with no... In a game designed by less than 3,000 people, someone would have quite rightly stepped forward at some point and said, wait a second, this is bullshit. Think of the subversive nature of Undertale. Options and events were included simply to mock the player for doing things in the game's context that made absolutely no sense. Shopkeepers quite sensibly being insulted when you try to sell them stuff in their own stores. Maybe in Red Dead 2, the theater doors could have locked and the ticket seller takes off with everyone's cash and no show is actually ever played on screen. Then by the time the player realizes it's too late and he's escaped. We'd quite rightly feel like total morons for trying to see a show in a video game depicting a dramatic recreation of the Wild West. But no, 50 people at Rockstar all sat around a table and one moron says, let's put shows in the game, and everyone else is too polite to say anything otherwise. Probably because the company was previously headquartered in the UK, where we apologize if someone walks into us. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I think I'd remove all these bells and whistles for a decent tracking system, but I gotta say the best moment this year was hooking up the Pro to a 4K TV and showing all my friends the animations for skinning a duck. Good god, Arthur, this isn't Temple of Doom, it's a mallard, not a fucking banana. And then once he's done with it, Arthur just disposes of his defiled bird. So basically, it's hard for me to decide whether or not I'm really on board for all this realism. It certainly does add a lot to my enjoyment of the game, so it's hard to argue against it. But even the way Arthur loots bodies and rooms, it looks simple, but I can only imagine the insane amount of work that went into how seamless picking up objects is, when I'm sure it would have just been perfectly acceptable to do this. While other areas of the actual gameplay are lacking finer details.
You know what? I've had enough of this vest as well.
Actually, speaking of The Witcher 3 again, one of the biggest obstacles in that game was slight falls. In this game though, it's minor inclines. Fuck me, it's like Arthur has an inner ear infection. What the hell is going on here? This is beyond realism. I mean, I could get up there. I don't want to brag, but I'm a pretty agile guy.
I'm turtling! That's the word for this, right? Turtling.
Even the dirt effects on your face are incredible. In Red Dead 1, I would play poker for 20 hours straight while sipping whiskey inside and outside the game like a total badass.
Double down.
But now the mud stays on my face the entire poker game, so I can really get into character. Even the towns feel incredibly real, especially early on when they're filled with buildings with seemingly no use, like the post offices. You run across these all the time. Later on you learn if you talk to this guy inside, you can send mail. But what would I want to send? Oh.
I'm ready. Well, I sent it, but I haven't a fucking clue where it's got.
Khajiit's order has arrived.
I think you can probably tell that overall I would say the incredible attention to detail in this game does ultimately make the game more fun. Especially when deciding on things like whether or not you should save this guy hanging off a cliff. The game's seamless animations make it so easy for you to get into character. Well, well, well. Looks like you're in a mighty fine bit of trouble. Don't you worry though, I think we can— Oh my god, he's fallen! Benny! No! The most absurd detail is how Arthur has to actually smoke cigarettes in the game when he wants to refill his Deadeye meter. I know we're trying to be realistic here, but the Deadeye is a combat mechanic, so you end up smoking your way through every other gunfight like you've got some sort of deep-rooted nicotine dependence. I mean, look at this shit! It's the best looking game ever, okay? It's beautiful, it's realistic, while still being stylized, it's just how I like it. To show you what I mean, here's my usual graphics montage. You're probably used to this by now.
Almost heaven.
No, not that fucking song ever again! There we go, that's better. Let's use this one. Oh, for God's sake, can we get a cleaner in here? Unlike all the brilliant animations and impressive realism we spoke about earlier, I'm completely sure that these graphics do make this game better. You see, ever since the Genesis SNES wars, we knew deep down that graphics didn't actually matter. It was all about the gameplay. But this is now a whole different pile of shit. You see, I enjoy trips to art museums as much as the next person.
Ah, another triumph!
And this game is a living work of art. Sure, the PS4 Pro sounds like a wounded animal in a crashing helicopter when it turns on.
There we go.
But my god, it's trying. Excuse me, sir, I didn't realize this was Fallout 76. So here's where Organic Car Simulator and me start to disagree a little.
Flared jeans? Are you insane?
I don't have a specific problem with the story itself. The writing and voice acting are all incredible. I just find the way it's presented in the gameplay sections is inanely inorganic. Inanely inorganic, fuck me. You know what's inanely inorganic? That fucking sentence. There's a specific mission where you are given a treasure map, but rather than work out where the treasure is, the game tells you exactly where to go. It honestly takes complete focus away from the amazing world that you're in. As a result, I literally spend half the game looking here instead of here.
What a lovely day!
I think the inorganic nature of the missions is more prevalent in Red Dead 2 because as a sequel, the game's mechanics are very similar to the first. The gritty western open world, its combat and the Deadeye mechanic felt very fresh in the first game, but it's all just been regurgitated here.
Oh my god, Sid, it's a black horse. It's you, in horse form. Finally, you can be my horse.
No.
Oh, never mind. He's got a white nose. He looks nothing like you. Unless...
Don't do it, human.
And if you do feel like going the whole hog and doing absolutely nothing, you can just enter cinematic mode, hold X, and you don't even have to play.
Red Dead Redemption is so fun.
However, where Galloping Car really shines is when the story or gameplay is presented to the player without any prompts or explanation. The absolute best part of the game for me was stumbling across a pig farm in the wilderness and entering without being told to. An entire scene then plays out from this point, and you're never once told what to do by the game. I won't spoil it, but it ends with this scene. 2 motherfuckers gone die tonight! To me, this proves how much better games can be when the player is able to work through them at their own pace without so much hand-holding. Undertale explicitly makes this point, and you all love that so bloody much. There are also random people scattered throughout the game you are free to meet without prompt, but I found them all to be quite similar. You just walk up to them, they get angry and tell you to leave, then you Oh God. Why do people keep dying around me?
Eight. I bought this for a previous video, but it was too big.
Imperfection is what creates perfection. Remember that pretentious scene in Inception where Jack tells Rose her dream form isn't good enough for him because she lacks all the imperfections that make her human? Well, here it is. Wait a minute, am I being pretentious now by trying to legitimize criticisms of a video game by referencing obscure scenes in movies that are in of themselves pretentious? I've fallen into some sort of pretentious inception.
Leo, help me!
Tens, fucking tens. What are you all on, IGN? Spain. This is utterly ridiculous. This is kind of where I've been going with this whole review. Red Dead 2 is good, but it ain't fucking perfect. Don't get me wrong, there are games I would give 10s to. FTL, Undertale, Minecraft, Agario. But these games are microcosms. Ooh, la-di-da. This is because they lay out a very specific gameplay style and execute the entire game within this style without any flaws. However, Witcher 3, in my opinion, is a far better game than any of those. It's longer, has more mechanics, is more in-depth, has better visuals, combat, and more detailed leveling up, but it has flaws. The middle of the game is about as interesting as manufacturing carpet. It may be my favorite game, but there is no way I could give The Witcher 3 a 10. It does far more than any of those other games, but that leaves more room for mistakes. Sure, by that logic, Beethoven's Fifth may be more flawed than Megalovania, but I take that risk. There are, of course, hundreds of things I love about this game. I love how you keep a diary written in fucking cursive. Honestly, Arthur Morgan does not strike me as the literary type.
Today I left my horse on the train tracks. The colours.
To say that Red Dead Redemption 2 is perfect and cannot be improved on is irresponsible. Let's face it, even Sid can be improved on.
Hair's just get in the way, Sid.
Khajiit's time has come.